Wow, I cannot believe it's already graduation. I feel like I was a freshman yesterday, but it's a very bittersweet moment because on one hand, I do not want to leave this amazing film school and university, but on the other hand, I want to take all the things I've gained from SCA, all the skills and the insights and all the ways that I've become a stronger filmmaker, artist, and person, and finally put that all to use in the real world. My time at SCA honestly taught me a lot about who I am as an artist, as a person, as a professional, and I learned so much about collaboration and the strength in collaboration.
It feels like yesterday to me that a bunch of us freshmen were crammed into CTCS 190 Intro to Cinema together and got to see Singin' in the Rain. It really hit me like a ton of bricks while we were watching that movie, like, wow, we are in film school, this is real, this is happening. And since that class, and the many other classes I've gotten to take, I've met so many amazing friends and collaborators along the way. Some of truly the best directors, writers, cinematographers, producers, wannabe agents, everything else out there I've met in all of my classes and gotten to work on projects with them.
My cohort truly means everything to me. I can't believe I had the privilege of working with some of the most hardworking and creative individuals. I'm gonna miss small moments like in between classes when we would go to Coffee Bean to grab a snack, to 310 screenings, to honestly suffering down in the editing labs together. They mean the world to me, and honestly, my time at SCA wouldn't be the same without them.
There is no community really like SCA. There's no community as quirky, creative, ambitious, supportive, and caring. I've met so many of my best friends here.
I think I didn't realize how much I was gonna miss about the school and friends and just the little details like the sound of the fountain at SCA or making small talk with strangers in the elevator and just the people's presence, like my friends and classes and the moments in between everything. I think I just realized how special those all were.
Fight on! I encourage you all to please keep going. The world needs to hear exactly what you have to say, and your art is needed. So please don't stop until you see it come true.
Congratulations, everyone, and fight on.
Dean Daly, take one.
Action!
Greetings, class of 2021, and family and friends, to this very special virtual graduation celebration. I so wish that I were on the stage at the shrine talking to you, but they won't allow us together there. So we decided we would hold this celebration somewhere that felt more like home, much more familiar to us. This has been a year that has challenged our teaching and learning like no other. We've lost loved ones, lost precious, precious time with each other, and yet you all made the very best of a very different and in many cases, difficult academic experience. The School of Cinematic Arts, your school, has persevered, and I want to thank you, the class of 2021, your faculty, and your staff for leading us to this day. I'd like to now introduce Michael Renoff, Vice Dean of Academic Affairs, to say a few words and get us started. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Dean Daly. Good afternoon, class of 2021. I'm here in the control room of Trojan Vision. From here, I'll be your virtual guide through our graduation program. The chairs of your divisions are up on these monitors and will be switching to their sites around SCA to greet and address you there. Now, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague, Akira Mizuta-Lippert, Vice Dean of Faculty. I just have to find his monitor.
Can't seem to find him. I'm over here in the audio control room. I was told I would get to control video. So it looks like now we know which Vice Dean has the most clout. I salute you, Vice Dean Renoff, on your rapid rise through the ranks. Congratulations, class of 2021, and a special welcome and thank you to parents, family, and friends for your support to your students and to the School of Cinematic Arts in this most challenging of years. The School of Cinematic Arts is blessed with an unparalleled and exemplary staff. Each member of our professional staff brings specific expertise in their fields that cannot be replicated by any other. Each member has dedicated themselves to the academic mission to the success of our students. As our dean frequently says, we simply would not exist without them. Each year, we recognize one individual staff member among the many deserving members to acknowledge their unique contributions during the past year. Last year, as we lunged into the pandemic and scrambled to salvage and then refine a remote curriculum, we recognized the entire staff, all of whom gave their all and more to ensure that our students would receive a quality education during the ensuing year of remote learning. This year, we recognize SCA Director of Programming and Special Projects, Alex Ago. It was Alex's unprecedented, heroic efforts to create online courses and events, to take the disruptions of the pandemic and turn them into opportunities that in many ways saved our curriculum. His commitment to diversity and inclusion programming at a particularly painful moment for our community during the summer of 2020 was especially transformative. Despite his youthful appearance, Alex has been with the School of Cinematic Arts for 24 years, first as a student and for the past 15 years as a member of the staff. He has established himself as the premier film and media programmer in the nation, indeed in the world. During this time, Alex has earned the trust and respect of the film and media communities, the deep admiration of the faculty, and the immense gratitude of our students, who have benefited tremendously from his tireless efforts. We look forward to presenting this award to Alex Ago properly, and to hear from him when we assemble together in person at the Shrine this time next year.
It's my pleasure to welcome and profusely thank James Ivory for agreeing to this conversation today as a very special gift to our graduating students. As all of you no doubt know, James Ivory is certainly one of the most legendary graduates of this school, a writer, director, producer with a career that spans more than 60 years. He's been nominated for dozens of industry awards, winning more than 50 as we count them from festivals and industry associations for his contributions to filmmaking as well as to making great films. Those awards, of course, include the Oscar he won in 2018 for the screenplay of Call Me By Your Name. Today, it's also my honor to bestow another long overdue award on Mr. Ivory, one that recognizes how very, very proud the School of Cinematic Arts is to be able to count him as an alumnus. Each year, the school and the Mary Pickford Foundation pay tribute with the Pickford Award to a person who attended USC Cinema whose achievements are so remarkable that they bring a special distinction to the school and to our industry and advance the art form. At last, we're able to honor James Ivory as this year's Mary Pickford Outstanding Alumnus recipient. I also want to thank writer-director James Gray, another alumnus of whom we are very proud, for moderating today's conversation. And now I'm going to turn this event back over to introduce James and get us started in this remarkable conversation.
I don't really have a lengthy introduction to make because I don't think he needs one. This is kind of an incredible honor for me. I think Mr. Ivory is really one of the great artists in the cinema. And so I guess we should get to it. I suppose I should start asking you some banal questions to be followed by some better ones from the students. How did you find yourself at SC Film School ultimately? It's sort of atypical for people like you and me to go there.
Shall I be honest? I didn't want to be drafted into the Korean War. And if I went to graduate school, I wouldn't be. And the only graduate school I wanted to go to was a film school of some sort.
One of the things that's so amazing to me is that you're able to do these films, which are in many cases literary adaptations, and they still feel very personal, even if they're not, I guess, autobiographical, and still your own voice manages to appear.
Well, I mean, it's because if it's a literary adaptation, with one or two exceptions, it's because I read a book I liked. I thought this is really, I would love to make this into a movie, but it's because the book appealed to me, the story appealed to me. Sometimes it is autobiographical. And that kind of thing you find out years later. You're watching a film that you've made, and then you kind of become more alert and you think, so that's what that's all about. And you're really thinking it's about yourself and a certain situation in your life or situations or a way of living or whatever it was. And, but if there, I mean, the personal feeling comes really from my delight in what I have read.
Of course, but there's also a very specific touch you have with the actor. How do you work with the actor? I mean, how do you pace the scene? How do you establish that emotional temperature in the scene?
You have to trust your actors, and your actors are artists, and some of them are great artists, and you have to let them show you what it is they want to do, and how they have developed the character for themselves. And sometimes they go off in a direction I don't like, and I have to bring them back. But on the whole, as I say, they are real artists, and you can't browbeat them into whatever. I think that's true not only of the actors, but it's also true of your cameraman and the set designer and the costume designer and your composer and so on. You have to let them show you first what it is they have in mind to do.
And now I have to ask, even though it's maybe a banal question, but you're such a fiercely independent artist. Did you ever get tempted by Hollywood?
Oh, many times. We made many Hollywood movies.
Well, I don't think of them that way, but what
I
do you
think of them? But in fact, they were financed by studios. What would happen is we would have a success of some kind, and we'd make a certain amount of money, but we'd have good reviews or whatever it was. Then we would be popular. And while we were popular, we would then put forward some ideas for films we wanted to make. And we would make them, but they'd bomb. So then we'd be unpopular for a while. Then we go off and make another film for a little bit of money, and then that too would make a lot of money. And then we were in the good graces of Hollywood, and we'd come back and we'd make another one or two films, and usually one of them bombed. Meanwhile, the people in those offices in Hollywood, they weren't there anymore. A whole new crowd had come. So it was always, we were sometimes persona non grata, and sometimes, wow, those guys really have some secret.
I could ask about a billion more questions, and I will, but I think we should start because I know that we have some people wanting to ask questions.
Thank you so much for your inspiring work. I just wanted to start off by saying that I was curious, in the editing process, how do you work with the editor to pace the very deliberate pacing that you have in your films?
You don't needlessly want to put a lot of dialogue in there, and if everything has been said that needs to be said in a dramatic or useful way, that's it. You make little cuts all the time. I mean, you're constantly doing that when you're cutting a dialogue scene. I mean, you'll take out, a sentence here, a sentence there, or whatever, maybe a whole paragraph sometimes. I mean, you have to. I mean, you can't have a very long film. And you also have to be careful about where your dialogue scenes come, the long dialogue scenes come. It's not really a good idea in a film to have long dialogue scenes at the end of a film. And people will think, well, what about Call Me By Your Name, the scene with the father, which is like everybody's favorite scene. That scene in the book is probably twice as long as it was on the screen. I mean, there's many more things were said by the father, but it came at the end of the film, and it had to, and that's where it belonged. And so we took the risk.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
What an honor to participate. I actually studied your movie in Drew Casper's film class, and I don't think there was a single dry eye in the house, including me. We saw Remains of the Day, and that ending really just ripped my heart out. Like, how much do you feel you have to kind of change your sensibility for the modern audience, and how much do you just kind of...
I don't feel that I can do that. I don't think I can change my sensibility for the modern audience, but I'm certainly aware that I might be going too far sometimes, and that, should have less dialogue, or, I mean, you think about your audience. You have to think about your audience, but it can't be this sort of thing, a modern sensibility. Well, what is a modern sensibility, and so on? It is really only your own sensibility, but, after long practice, you find a way of hopefully not boring people too much.
That's super helpful. Thank you, James.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Honor, Mr. Ivory. You mentioned earlier being in the good graces of Hollywood and then inevitably falling out of those graces. So I wanted to ask about your mentality, or if you considered strategy in these off seasons.
Well, we went back and forth with Hollywood from very early on. Every time we had a project that we wanted to do, we took it to the studios. And some of them were just thrown out like that. Room with a View, for instance, was nobody wanted to do Room with a View in Hollywood. I mean, we just kept pushing to make the thing somehow and find the money for it somehow. And sometimes we were successful with the studio, but more often we were not. And we'd have to find the money in some other way. One of the things was to have a star. And I understood that if you can attach someone to your project who has some kind of star value, that's good. But it was always a problem, really. Even when it was with the studios, there were still problems.
Oh, thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you so much. This has been a highlight for me, and I know it has been for everybody else.
You're welcome. No, it's been a good afternoon. I've enjoyed myself.
Well, we have too. So all of our thanks to you.
You're welcome.
Today, we are conferring degrees, from bachelor's to master's to PhDs, from 7 academic divisions: film and television production, interactive media and games, media arts and practice, cinema and media studies, the John Wells Division of Writing for Screen and Television, the John C. Hench Division of Animation and Digital Arts, and the Peter Stark Producing Program. Founded way back in 1929 when the film medium was young, the School of Cinematic Arts has evolved over the years to stay abreast of change and even lead the way. New technologies, platforms, methods, and markets may emerge, but the core SCA experience remains the same. Train students to tell the stories worth telling, encourage bold new ideas, support collaboration, risk failure while striving for excellence. We're very proud of you today, but that's because we've been deeply invested in your progress every day. We've taught you and mentored you toward your professional goals, but we've also been deeply committed to your overall well-being. We appreciate you and all that you've achieved during your years at SCA, especially this past year, with all its unique challenges. You just may be the most extraordinary graduating class ever. And now, on with the show. Here's David Isaacs, chair of the John Wells Division of Writing for Screen and Television.
Writing graduates, my fellow writers, congratulations. You made it. Under the most unusual conditions any graduating class of any year has ever experienced. You've had to adapt to an unpredictable and daunting landscape. The good news is the ability to adapt is everything in our business. Tastes change, the gatekeepers change, the marketplace changes, and you as a creator of content have to adapt to those changes. I believe that your performance and grace under this unprecedented pressure has fortified you for the long haul, no matter what the challenge. You'll also be the storytellers who will interpret the human impact of what we've all lived through. That's what we do as screenwriters. We don't report, we present the humanity and thus the underlying truth. Shed your caution as a writer, walk into your career with the idea that the only thing you ever have to lose is not being true to yourself, your beliefs, and your instincts. Class of 2021, be fearless. And now let me introduce my good friend and chair of the Film and Television Production Division, Barnett Kellman.
Greetings to the production class of 2021. Perhaps more than any before you in the long history of SCA, you've truly earned the right to be called filmmakers. Filmmakers work to control the uncontrollable, and you've worked with creativity, courage, and determination to transcend the limitations imposed on you by the pandemic. Your resilience has set an example for us all. And resilience is key. You'll be called upon to use that muscle throughout your careers. Because filmmaking, like life, is about coming back. It's about starting over every day and coming back and starting over again. So let me offer you one practical bit of advice. Listen now, this is important. When you go to the set, take 2 pairs of shoes and change them often. Putting on fresh shoes is like getting a fresh start to your day, a chance to begin again. And as you've learned at SCA, we always need another take, another chance to begin again. So congratulations to you all. I know the entire production faculty joins me in toasting you. Here's to your new beginnings. You are one classy class that will never be forgotten. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague and chair of the John C. Hench Division of Animation and Digital Arts, Teresa Chang.
Thank you, Barnett. Congratulations, Animation Class of 2021. In a year that impacted everyone worldwide, both personally and professionally, each of you, navigated through some major obstacles to get here today. How you chose to respond to the challenges posed by the pandemic has been exemplary and inspiring. Your passion for animation is exhilarating, your willingness to help each other commendable, and your openness to collaborating not only with your peers from animation, but also with all the other SCA divisions and schools across USC truly remarkable. You have pivoted, persevered, and earned yourself a seat at the table where your voice could be heard and your work would influence others. The faculty and I are incredibly proud of you and look forward to seeing all of you thrive in your next chapter. Stay curious, stay safe. Congratulations again, animation grads. And now, here's Danny Bilson, Chair of the Interactive Media and Games Division.
The Interactive Media and Games Division challenges its students to integrate traditions of storytelling with innovations in interactive technology. Under the banner of USC Games, our primary creative collaborations are with the Viterbi School of Engineering, as the computer sciences are the backbone of our art form. This uniquely positions our graduates to lead the next generation of entertainment designers and artists. In this year, unlike any other, the class of 2021 exceeded all expectations. Due to the dedication of our tremendous faculty, staff, and most importantly, the extraordinary resourcefulness of the students of USC Games, productions were completed on time and to a high level of quality. The program will live stream our end-of-year expo this Saturday, May 15th, to a worldwide audience. Today's graduates have mastered the storytelling skills of the cinematic arts, as well as the technical demands of interactive entertainment. And our Games for Health program is graduating students who will go into industry, healthcare, and research with an understanding of how interactive experiences can influence quality of life. And with our unique ability to connect people who are otherwise separated, our art form can and will continue to be of service. Congratulations to you all. It has truly been an honor. And now, here's Dean Daly with a special announcement.
In 1991, Larry Terman, the legendary producer of enduring films like The Graduate and The Thing, agreed to chair the Graduate Peter Stark producing program. It was a decision that would be transformative for our school. Larry brought his deep knowledge of how to produce successful projects of any kind. As a working producer, he didn't just tell his students what to do, he showed them, engaging them in film projects like The River Wild and American History X. He also taught them to embrace change. Today, Starkies are creators and developers of every kind of content: blockbuster and indie films, episodic programs, interactive entertainment, and even podcasts. And now, after 30 wonderful years, Larry is retiring, and we must embrace change. But not before hearing from him. It's now my great honor to introduce Larry Terman, chair of the Peter Stark producing program.
Wow, it's been 30 years since I graduated my first class of Starkies, and the time has just flown by. It's always been stimulating, always exciting, and yes, I'll say it, it's always been successful. I mean, our graduates are everywhere throughout the planet and working in this still vibrant industry. So now it's your turn to make your own mark. So I hope you will pick meaningful, practical, or impractical stories to enrich our culture and yourself. I say bravo and good luck. Plus, of course, big congratulations on what you've already achieved while here at Stark. Godspeed.
Thank you, Larry, for your leadership and friendship. The School of Cinematic Arts will be forever grateful for your contributions to its success. And now, the chair of the Division of Media Arts and Practice, Elizabeth Ramsey.
MAP class of 2021, you have arrived at the day you probably felt would never come, and certainly never predicted it would be while sitting on your couch or bed over a screen on Zoom. Congratulations on your commencement and completion of your journey in media arts and practice. I, the MAP faculty and staff, are extremely proud of you as we have watched you gain and refine skills, question the important role media plays in both our society and your lives, critically reflect on how it contributes to social problems, but also possesses the power to inspire and envision new ways of being. Part of changing the world is changing the story. As you step into the unknown, you may not feel like you are completely prepared for the complex challenges that the world presents today and the new stories that are needed to help and inspire us all. But we have complete confidence in you as we have witnessed your creative problem-solving skills, perseverance, insight, and humor. We have challenged and encouraged you to critically reflect, reimagine, and make new stories, not just in traditional filmmaking practices, but in sound, animation, code, graphic design, UX, VR, AR, and all the other media arts platforms and theoretical techniques you have explored. The time has arrived for you to step out into the world, to reflect and apply your creative and critical making skills and imagination to change the story. Congratulations and snaps to all of you. And now I would like to introduce my dear colleague, Tara McPherson, the chair of the Division of Cinema and Media Studies.
Welcome to the graduates of Cinema and Media Studies and to your loved ones. We are so happy to be able to celebrate with you today. You are poised on the cusp of your future. Graduation is always a time laced through with both possibility and anxiety, and you are entering into a world that is being transformed by so many pressures, from biological viruses to a seeming tsunami of viral misinformation. You will likely face hard challenges as you find your way, but you are also uniquely positioned to address this complex moment. The arts are vitally important today as they provide solace and human connection. As CAM students, you also understand that the media wield immense power. From our laptops to our phones, we now orchestrate life's daily rhythms through multiple image streams. Our screens powerfully influence how we view the world. In CAMS, you've gained vital tools to help you analyze the media that so define our lives. You've learned that media are situated in larger networks of power and control, networks that shape how and what we think. You know that free and creative media are vital to any functioning democracy. Some of you want to create the media of the future. Others of you aspire to study those media. Some of you have no idea what you want to do. Whatever your path as you leave SCA, I hope you'll use what you've learned here to contribute not only to a more entertaining world, but also to a more equitable and democratic one. We will need your energy and passion in the years ahead. Again, congratulations. And now back to Dean Daly.
Thank you to all our division chairs. And congratulations, graduates. We're so very proud of you. And congratulations to all your family, friends, partners, everyone who's helped sustain you during this very difficult past year and help you reach this momentous day. I hope that you're going to find your way back to campus as soon as it's safe to do so. And I promise, when you do, Douglas Fairbanks and I will be here to welcome you back. Now, someone suggested the other day that we should switch Dougie's sword with a syringe, but we thought about it and decided it was a really bad idea. So he'll be exactly like he is right now when you come back. As you leave here, also remember that there's a family of alumni waiting to welcome you. Now what we want to do is invite you to join us at our GatherTown virtual after party, where you can mingle with faculty members and fellow graduates. All you have to do is pick your avatar and come on in. We're looking forward to seeing you there.